Hello, everyone. This is Peter,
And this is Elliot.
and you're listening to one of our fans' new songs.
His name is Aaron Pino, and he made a song for us specifically for the new design that we've been promoting.
Shout out to Aaron Pino. Go follow him at Aaron Pino _Pino.
Aaron_Pino.
And we're also going to be talking about OnlyFans. Let me just pull it up. Oh, OnlyFans. They offer you 80% commission. And we're also going to be talking about the tips and tools on how to get great advice. So great advice on how to get great advice when you're starting a company as an entrepreneur. Let's lower that real quick and let's get right into it.
So OnlyFans has been seeing a lot of growth recently in terms of users. They are now experiencing 85 million users with 100 million creators on the platform. And they mainly started off as a den of debauchery, as a lot of you may know, for women and men to go on. And
a place for men to seek emotional support and comfort amongst their follower, the people they follow.
right, we don't have to get too explicit into it. We all know what
But
OnlyFans
they
is
started
about.
in 2016, and ultimately the founder didn't do a great job when he first started it. And then he sold a big part of his company,
Large stake.
large stake, to this guy from a Chicago-based internet entrepreneur who basically had a lot of experience in the porno field, aka adult entertainment.
Debauchery.
And you know how you said 1 million creators, 85 million people watching these creators. There's a substantial amount of benefit for it's as it seems with an 80% split for people to go on there and make some money. And one of the things that Ellie pointed out, which was fascinating, is that if Kim Kardashian were to, what was it? How many?
So their pitch deck for getting people on the site and getting people to ultimately create content on their site is if Kim Kardashian's followers, if 1% of Kim Kardashian's followers paid for her videos and her content, Kim Kardashian would make over $20 million in a month. So with that into account, I mean, you might not have Kim Kardashian's following base, but you might have a substantial amount. You don't necessarily make 20 million plus in a month, but you can make a good amount of money. And that's what OnlyFans is essentially trying to get users to understand. So they're trying to be the social media like Instagram or Twitter, but they're trying to add that purchase button to everything you make. So, I mean, like,
The pie's pretty damn big to join in if you're a good creator.
right, they needed a big oven for the large pie that they baked. And
And how many followers does Kim Kardashian have on Kim Kardashian followers? Insta. Let's see. She probably has like 192.7 million followers. That is wild. So 1% is 1.9 million people watching her stream.
just about.
1.9 million, right?
Yeah, just about. That sounds like good math to me. I don't know.
I don't know. What? Let's ask Siri. What is 1% of 192 million?
It's 1,920,000.
Okay, so my math isn't bad.
Yeah,
Thank you, Siri, for validating that.
Siri's always right.
So basically, the first person to ever have an OnlyFans account to grow substantially was this girl named Jem Wolfie. I don't know her pronouns or anything, but I'm assuming she identifies as a female. And Jem Wolfie is a avid basketball player, as you can tell. And she was, the men of culture in society tended to steer toward her amazing basketball skills and interests.
Really good basketball player.
She is literally taking the internet by storm because of her interest in basketball. And she recently is netting more than $1 million a year
Because of basketball.
in subscriptions alone. on OnlyFans because of basketball.
Much the average NFL basketball player makes.
Yes, please look that up. Let's find that out. But Jem Wolfe is a prime representation at 22 years old. When she started her OnlyFans account with her basketball interest and the men of culture following her, she was able to net $1 million a year in subscriptions, a very substantial amount. That's not even to mention all the brand deals that she has and all the other different projects that she might be associated with. She's currently going to start a clothing line.
So, on average, there is a 3.3 million price tag per player in the NFL versus a 6.8 million price tag in the NBA. And how much is our friend Jen making because of basketball?
She's making $1 million per year on just subscriptions.
So she's almost at the pro level.
But that doesn't count for all the brand deals. I mean, the brand deals that like we've been offered or brand deals that we can get, like for example, they're pretty freaking lucrative. I mean, look at David Dobrik. He's able to buy a car with just one shout out.
Right. Yeah.
So, Jem Wolfe, lover of basketball. Obviously, I mean, she's not an NBA player, but she has the skills to get the men of culture interested in her OnlyFans account.
And so people like Jem are going on this platform, and this platform is raking in a nice $2 billion this year. But they're only taking 20% of the profits of these creators, or what they're making. These creators are making a nice 80% from what they're putting out there, which is different when you think about the standard pornography industry, where it's usually a 50-50 cut between the creator and the host or whatever. I'm not too sure how the pornography business works, but this is very different, and that's why it's alluring a lot of attention from people who are into this nudism and interaction with fans. But what also makes this platform unique is the one-on-one interaction you have with your fans. Unlike Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, people actually charge for that one-on-one direct messaging. So it is very lucrative in that sense.
So Jem Wolfe, just to get an idea, this is like the kind of content she makes. Right here. She's playing basketball.
That was a clean shot.
Very clean.
Yeah.
She's really good. Okay. She's a very talented basketball player, as you can tell.
Are those three-pointers too? Those are three-pointers, yeah.
The men of culture. Now, she's bigger on OnlyFans and Instagram, but she's also a fitness person. She does fitness stuff.
One leg.
That's very impressive for a basketball player. So, as you can tell, she has the men of culture who follow her, and maybe the women of culture. They understand that she's a woman of many talents, and this has provoked us to start an OnlyFans of ourselves.
Right, because the 1 million creators on this platform are not strictly people in pornography or this type of industry, but
basketball players.
Let's
be real.
Right. But there are also music producers and podcasters and whatever else you can think of. It's dwarfing Patreon. For those of you who don't know, Patreon is a service that
Patreon. I think
Patreon.
What part of France you're in?
It depends. I mean, tomato. Patreon is a service that allows you to go on, put your content, and people sign up on a membership, and they pay you monthly for your content. That is basically insignificant when you compare it to OnlyFans. And so that has inspired me and Peter to create an account.
Yeah, let's do that right now. Actually, let's try it. Sign in with Google, Pineapple Chunks Podcast. Let's get it started. OnlyFans. All right, that was easy. That was literally the most easiest thing. Awesome.
They made it really simple for us.
Okay, so we have an account now. It's called P Chunks. Our ID. We're gonna have to change that ID. Jeez. See how we can do that. My profile.
For those of you watching, if you want to just give us a nice follow,
we'll do
on OnlyFans.
We'll do Get
the ball rolling.
We'll just call it Chunks. P Chunks. Oh, P Chunks Pod. Okay, that's not taken. Awesome. Yeah, P Chunks is taken. I mean, I guess another. I'm sure the other Chunks wasn't have to do anything with an ass or anything like that. It just had to do with food related topics probably.
Right.
And so basically we'll get to this later, But we have an account. And if you want to subscribe to our P Chunks OnlyFans, then please do, and
Please get the ball
we'll get this stuff rolling, and we'll hopefully be at the ranks of the lovely Gem Wolfie, showing off our interests and talents with finance and investment news for you all. So Gem Wolfie, a star. Kim Kardashian, you should definitely get on OnlyFans. If you just had 1% of your fans, you'd make $23 million a month. Come on, get on there. And I mean, I don't know if I have anything else to say about this. I mean, that 80-20 split where you have 80% of your followers. Is that an alarm? Oh,
it's an alarm.
Yo, close the door.
I think the food's ready.
So basically, what we have to do is find a way for you all to subscribe and ultimately get it going. So maybe let's just get to the next story. Let's talk about this really quick. The tips and tools on how to find the best advisors for your entrepreneurial venture. And it is a segue from OnlyFans, but still a relevant topic because OnlyFans started as a startup as well. But the founder sold out too quickly, or he didn't have the knowledge that it took to ultimately develop the business in the fashion that OnlyFans has been able to grow thus far. Nonetheless, he sold out a large stake to somebody who was more knowledgeable. I don't know if that was the best take. I think that he could have probably, had the guy come in as a limited partner, maybe taken a little less stake, and then contributed his knowledge from the porno industry into the OnlyFans where he could keep a portion of the stake. Now, mind you, I'm sure he has a big portion still. I'm sure he didn't sell out 100%. But here is a bit of great advice on how to find great advice when you're starting a company. So let me pull up a little bit of our notes. So when you're a founder, your inner circle should consist of 3 types of people. Trusted advisors for strategic problems, this Chicago-based investor who ultimately is knowledgeable in the adult industry. That's a great place. A good quote by successful advisors and entrepreneurs who work with advisors: you can't pay for good strategic advice. Ultimately, you have to have people be invested in and believe in your idea.
Or you could pay for it.
Well,
get like an OnlyFans membership on someone who gives good strategic advice.
Well, they have to have stake in the game. They have to have skin in the game. I mean, they have to have stake.
Well,
and interest.
Right. I mean, they'll probably have some credibility stats on their profile, and you pay for that.
Okay. Fair. That's fair. But the other type of person is experts for operational advice. And founders and top
advice?
operators, operations.
Like surgeons?
No, dude, people who know how to manage other people.
Gotcha.
Operations. Management is huge when you're running a company. When you have a group of, you work in a company that you're a developer, and
and someone operates
the other developers,
right.
And then other people operate the salespeople, and
it's a hierarchy.
It's a hierarchy, but it's not just that. It takes experience and it takes skill, and you need the right people.
It's a hierarchy that makes sense. You can easily get to the top if you work hard enough.
Right.
Yeah.
But you still need the essential individuals, especially in the individual industries, because each industry has a different culture,
different skill set.
So somebody who is great operations at Pornhub isn't going to, well, maybe their skills might translate to Disney World, but not necessarily the top pick for Disney, for a Pornhub executive or operations manager to come and be on the board for Disney.
Well, I don't know. If you're in the marketing team,
but
you need marketer at Pornhub, you can probably pick up a thing or two to market Disney ads or make commercials for Disney.
Bro, you can't tell me that. I mean, I'm sure it would be a scandalous thing in the news if a Pornhub executive went onto the Disney board of directors.
It'd be a thick bordered across for that person switching jobs.
Right. It'd be really tough for
But
them
I'm
to-
sure there are some similarities.
I'm sure there are, but still, that's another thing. It's just PR. That's more politics. But at the end of the day, even the culture-wise, I mean, think about the people who work at Disney and compared to the people who work at Pornhub. The way that you think is completely different. And basically, you have to keep that into account. The third person, and ultimately I think one of the most interesting, is the peer for day-to-day problem solving. You're the average of 5 people you hang out with most or you spend the most time with.
This is very true.
And you know this. You lived with roommates before.
You are literally not original at all. You are a combination of the 5 people you hang out with the most. Maybe 6, maybe 4, give or take 1. Whatever. You are not original. I can guarantee you that.
Literally.
Nothing in this world is original. But that's a tangent I don't want to get into.
But still worth mentioning that who you have on your board and who you spend time with weeks and weeks at a time when you're starting a company, or even if it's not the board of directors or it's just your advisors or your mentors, these people's habits, these people's behaviors, these people's way of thinking will rub off on you. And they will influence your decision making. And if they're a part of your business, then you have to understand and be okay with all of their flaws and all of their pros.
It's like when you're marinating chicken. You put it in the bag with all the spices and the juices. Let it sit for some time. Those spices are going to seep into the chicken, and that chicken is not going to be chicken anymore. It's going to be a combination of flavors. It's going to be very flavorful, and it's going to be very unique in its own unoriginal way.
So the next point of basically this research that we conducted and all the articles that we ultimately brought up and consolidated onto this Google Doc. Let's bring it up really quick, actually, so you guys can get a better sense of what we're talking about. A decision is not just a choice. It's a commitment of resources, time, energy, and money. This creates opportunity costs. And without committed resources, you don't have a decision. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that you can't pay for good advice. Good advice has to pay for itself in order to be good advice. But in this case, the opportunity cost of making bad decisions or lack thereof, do you know what opportunity? Let's go actually and say the direct definition of opportunity cost. So opportunity cost in economics or business or finance or investments is basically if you have $100 and you have various options available to you. But let's say you're investing in the stock market. $100 only can buy you a few things, but Snapchat's around like $49, and then you have a company like Space, which is around like $29, which is Virgin Galactic's.
Really? They were $20?
29, yeah, 30.
Not so bad.
It's huge. No, they pop. But, that's commercialized space travel. So you have the option to pick between Space and Snap. You could pick both with $100, but then you have a third option, Uber. Uber's around $54 a share. And so let's say you pick Uber and Snapchat. With this $100, you're pretty much capped out. Actually, I don't even think you could get both. You couldn't get both. It would be $104 or something like that. So ultimately, the biggest downfall to this is that if you bet on Uber and Snapchat with $100, you won't be able to buy that space. So the opportunity cost is not being able to buy that Virgin Galactic SPCE commercialized space travel industry, and so you miss out on that.
Okay.
So the opportunity cost, that's what opportunity cost means. So then to the next point is that you get good at making decisions by learning from bad ones, right? We all have the time when we fail. We all fail at things.
And that's okay.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Because it's a learning lesson. If you fail and you learn from it, are you really a failure? Well, you could be if you accept that as your fate. But you can turn it around and take those learning lessons and apply it to the next thing that you do.
You're not going
and
to
learn from it.
succeed 100% of the time. Nothing is 100% in life. Not even hand sanitizer. It kills 99.99% of germs. So what that means is that even if you do fail once, twice, 35 times, like, you're going to succeed eventually. And maybe on your 35th failure, you have succeeded in between there. Maybe the 15th time or the 13th time or the 9th time you had succeeded. And those micro successions are going to accumulate and add up right until the point where you reach a gold mine. And all those failures that you just had, all that knowledge that you have now is going to help you out on that 36th attempt. And that 36th attempt might be it.
And if it isn't, what is failure? It's all relative, right?
It is all relative. I mean, in the day,
You learn every time you try, every time you do it. And the biggest thing is really to lean into those failures, right? Like, so in this case, you avoid company killing bureaucracy by assigning people to make decisions and supporting them through mistakes. Basically, being compassionate towards failure, having a tolerance for failure, and then helping your team when you're a founder of a company and you're starting it through those mistakes, and not reprimanding and calling them losers, but finding the solutions and learning from those mistakes. So let's get on to the next big nice topic. It's the slide bean is a pitch deck template. So I don't think we should really get into much about the pitch deck templates because this is a pretty long video. What are we at right now? We're at like 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. I think that's
I don't know. I mean,
Let me give our listeners a good
let's do
amount.
some tips for fostering creativity.
Oh, okay.
We can do that one.
Yeah, I like that one actually. I like that
Pull up
bit.
the Google Docs so we can remember it. This is great information.
So, tip number 1, listen to everyone's ideas. It doesn't matter who they are, what you think of them. Everyone's a person, and everybody in unison thinks the same at the end of the day. So if someone feels strongly about something or they favor something in a product, then odds are a lot of other people are going to feel the same way. So it's important to listen to everything everyone has to say. Not everything, but what people have to say.
And ultimately, what we found in our research, and also what we've seen amongst other people, is that if someone else is passionate about something, then that means they're going to make other people passionate about it too.
Right.
So it might be that hobo on the street who's really passionate about Levi jeans or really passionate about AT&T, and they might make you really passionate about it. Whether it's a good investment or not, whatever. But still, it nonetheless is something worth listening to if they really have that much conviction around it. Now, granted, background, expertise are something to take note of, especially when you're dealing with merit in a meritocracy. You know, and it's good to kind of distinguish and judge certain pieces of information. But still, when you're dealing with people in your own team that you've already priorly selected, listen to their ideas. Take the time to understand and consider it.
Because you never know what dots you connect. You really don't. So our second point is monitor your competitors' spending. Because if you do your diligent research and you see that your competitors are spending a lot of money in a specific category, let's say Facebook ads or, I don't know,
Snapchat ads, YouTube
Snapchat
ads,
ad, right.
or direct mail marketing, advertising.
or heck, even electric scooters in the cities nowadays, then odds are that's working really well for them, especially if your competitors are a lot bigger and have been around for longer than
Right.
you have. So that's important to take note of and maybe allocate some funds for that same category domain that they're doing. Yeah, I think that's very important to monitor.
Yeah, look at what your competitors are doing. I mean, the founder of Walmart, you know, even when Walmart was a billion, Sam, oh man, what's his name? Sam Walton or something?
Well,
Who
I
is the founder of Walmart?
Sam Sam Walton created
Sam Walton. So I said it. So
Sam
Sam Walton. Thank you, Siri, for making sure that I still have my wits about me. Sam Walton, even when he was at the peak of his Walmart career, Walmart was $1 billion valued company. He would go to his competitors' stores and see the distance between the aisles, see what they were doing differently with sales tags and pricing, where they would put the produce, where they would put the items on sale, where they would put the newest things, the most expensive things, and he would pivot, or not pivot, but adjust. He would adjust his business model based on his competitors, even when he was at the top. He didn't sit down and relax with a cigar and say, I made it here and I'm done. No, he continuously pursued ways to create a cult-like loyalty from his brands, and also a cult-like employee, or I don't like to say employee, but worker community. You know, he basically instilled that, and ultimately a constant improvement. Look at Walmart now after his death, still prospering and doing very well.
Right. And you see it every day now too. I mean, the most recent example I can think of is TikTok, and how that technology has been implemented in now Facebook, Instagram, and now Snapchat, and also how Twitter just implemented stories. So there's a reason all these companies copy each other. It's because they copy something that is
getting zucked.
they're getting zucked, and it's essentially copying something that clearly is working and bringing in a lot of revenue. So don't be afraid. Don't think that it's not okay to, because I feel like we've been nurtured and we've had this idea installed in our brains that copying other work is not right, when in reality it's what you should be doing.
And it's what all artists and people do.
Right. Nothing is original. I mean, very, very rarely do you find something that's truly original nowadays. I mean, now we're remaking movies from like old, original OG pioneered movies. So
or we're leveraging technology to do things that were done normally. Like email is basically electronic mail.
right.
Like mail was just sent out through cars or horses or whatever, and now we just do it through the internet. It's the same thing, but it's just used in a much faster way. One of the things that we found is that you should probably use Facebook ad library to find competitor selling points. I know this is pretty dense, and you know what? Let's not get into this. This is too dense. Let's go to the next one, and then we'll wrap it right up, and this will be a great show. Mind you, we don't own any shares of OnlyFans because they're a private company. But as soon as they go public, I swear
We're gonna buy a lot of
shares. And we're on OnlyFans as P Chunks Pod, so be sure to subscribe to us and hook us up. You know, we need to make some money, and we want to produce this content for you.
And for the third
Let's go to
created point, buy every product inside or outside your category that you think is cool. What does that mean?
Study everything. Another thing that like Sam Walton proved is basically never settle, never be relaxed, and always see what your competitors are doing, and especially if it's in your own product.
I mean, maybe it's not related to your own product. You should still maybe, like, if you want to enhance your shipping experience and your packaging experience for whatever tangible product you have, don't feel afraid to order things from other companies. See how they package their stuff, or how they handle shipping and processing.
Or going outside of your own industry. So like if you sell chocolate, like you might be really fascinated or think that Apple's packaging is really cool. I mean, it is really cool. When you open an iPhone and you peel off that plastic and you open that box and then you take off that manual and you see the phone right there. I think you see the phone right away. It's amazing. So then if you're somebody who sells chocolate, you might be inspired by that.
So good.
And so try to replicate it if you really like it. It might be something that will be very useful to you and your company and your business model. So never be afraid to step out of your own industry, out of your own expertise. Just always be open to things and be tolerant of stuff that is also opposing to you and challenging your own product. Because at the end of the day, everybody's seeking, especially if you're in this category, in this field as a founder, a man of creative heart, seeking more out of this world. You have to be open to the others, especially who are doing the same in other distinct industries.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that pretty much wraps it up. Like, we'll do the outro. Thanks to our homie.
Yes.
Let's listen to that. All right. So you've been listening to Pineapple Chunks Podcast. I'm Peter Vivas.
And I'm Ellie Diaz.
And be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and now on OnlyFans. We're going to be playing basketball. No, we're not going to play basketball.
I don't know how to shoot a hoop.
I don't know how to shoot a hoop. But Jem Wolfe really inspired us, because how is it possible that you could just be so interested in basketball at 22 years old, our relative age, and make $1 million a year in subscriptions alone?
It beats me, man. But I mean, I'm down to post our podcast on OnlyFans. I think that'd be really interesting.
Be sure to check it out. And it'll be exclusive. We'll find a way.